On this episode of Outside of the Box, we're talking to Casey from the Midwest Robot Combat Association about the recent growth of the sport and the heating up competition.
It used to be the point where you would have to go halfway across the country to get to an event. And now it's hard to go 2 or 3 hours without hitting a place that has an event now. I think this year in particular is going to be a completely different level. You can't luck your way into the MRCA finals. In the past, you could get lucky at a single event and be able to auto-qualify essentially. But this year, our competitors have to fight tooth and nail every step of the way. It's based completely off of their ranking within the MRCA, so that number's been floating the whole time. There's no free ride in. You have to compete the whole season. You have to do well at each event. So they don't get a lot of mercy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Outside of the Box. And, we're getting down towards the end of the year. And so that means a lot of the leagues are getting close to their finals after, everything that's happened in 2024. And so today I have Casey here from MRCA to talk about their finals and kind of summarize the season so far.
Yeah, we've had a very large season. We've had a lot of growth this year, and excited to get into some of the details as the season comes to a close.
Awesome. Well, I will be excited to hear it. First of all, I want to touch on just like what this season has been so far, because like you mentioned, a lot of growth. I got to go to my first MRCA competition this year, which was nice to see something different and, see especially an event in a venue that's just trying to get off of the floor and grow, because that's the whole point of what we're trying to do. So that's really exciting. But if you can kind of talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we brought in a lot of new events this year. In prior years, we had 5 to 7 events, and that was about it. So we as the MRCA did a lot of work this year to restructure our system so that we could accept a lot more events and accept them pretty much on the fly, and it worked. We went from 5 to 7, like I said, up to 20 events this year. Substantial growth. And then we added our Beetle League in as well. In the past, we've only tracked ant weights, and now we're tracking both. We've seen a lot of growth in both categories, and we've pumped out a lot of fights this year, way more than any year prior, substantially more, to almost tenfold.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think that speaks to just the growth of combat robotics as a whole, but it's really nice to see it in the Midwest where, I don't think that at least it's had the level of visibility that it does right now. I mean, it's existed for a while, but I think a lot more people know about it now and a lot more people are paying attention. Has that been kind of your experience from what you've seen?
Oh, 100%. We went from having to travel so far for events. It used to be the point where you would have to go halfway across the country to get to an event. And now within the Midwest specifically, it's hard to go 2 or 3 hours without hitting a place that has an event now.
Yeah, it's nice that everything is so well, I mean, close depending on where you're at, but like you could be, in Indiana or Michigan and have an event that's fairly close to you, or you can be, kind of more out in like Minnesota and that area and have an event that's fairly close to you as well. So I think that makes it nice because travel can add expense on top of what are already expensive
Yes.
robots.
Oh, very much so. Travel can be the same price as the entire outing.
Yes, yes.
Otherwise, it's such a large portion of it, and the less you have to travel, the less you have to stress about it. If you can show up to an event day of instead of having to have travel arrangements, yeah, we just want more of that.
Exactly. Now I want to talk a little bit about just like the overall level of competition that we've seen this year, because I mean, obviously finals are coming up and that's going to be a big topic surrounding that, a lot of good robots going to that event. And I mean, I think that just people have come in from other places that maybe weren't competing in MRCA before. You've seen a lot of people that have been competing that seem to have really stepped it up. So I mean, I think that just the finals are going to be insane.
Oh, they've always been kind of nasty, but I think this year in particular is going to be a completely different level. You can't luck your way into the MRCA finals. In the past, you could get lucky at a single event and be able to auto qualify essentially. But this year, our competitors have to fight tooth and nail every step of the way. It's based completely off of their ranking within the MRCA. So that number's been floating the whole time. There's no free ride in. You have to compete the whole season. You have to do well at each event. So they don't get a lot of mercy. And they've had so many events to test their bots, to figure things out, to come with something prepared. And then so any new people coming in, that's the wall they're having to deal with. They're having to deal with competitors that have been to 4, 5, 6 events. In the past, that was unheard of. I mean, that was our entire season in the past. And now we have guys that are getting 40, 50, 60 fights in a single season with a single robot. We looked up the numbers just the other day to kind of track who's the number of fights that people are getting. And it wasn't uncommon to see people with 30 or 40 fights for a single robot, which is just mind blowing to me.
That is amazing.
Yeah, in a single year too. That's not like the lifetime of the bot. That's 1 year. And we're not even through the year yet. We still have 3 more events to go minus finals.
Yeah, and I think that that really speaks to the level of dedication to the folks that live in this area, going to those events and going to multiple events and stuff like that, which I think is really cool. Because you can't rack up that many matches without doing that. Oh man, that number is crazy.
Yeah.
Um
I think that's my total fight count. Too busy running events, not busy enough attending them.
Right, exactly. Now, as far as I'm just curious because I know not every league does it that way. What was behind the decision as far as like qualifying to be based on the ranking and not just like you win an event or you finish high in an event and you qualify? Just curious about the decision as to why to use that.
It was a tough decision. We very much went against how we had done it in the past and how other places had gone. It was not an easy decision. We had quite a few meetings with quite a few people to make sure that we were making the right choice. And even while we were making the choice, we didn't necessarily know if it was going to be the right one. Now, being able to look back in hindsight, I think we made the right call. The advantages of it are right that we're able to bring in a lot of events and have a lot of fights going on. But kind of the disadvantages are kind of similar to that as well, where now you can't get away with just going to a single event and, like, let's say, winning it. That doesn't secure you a spot. You have to show up and do well repeatedly in order to attend our finals. I think it's just really raised the bar for a competitor, and it made it so that the dedicated people who want to be at our finals will be there.
Yeah, I think that that makes a lot of sense. Now, I believe you have at least one more event prior to finals. Am I correct on that?
We actually have 3.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, yeah. So our season's going to run right up until October 12th, I believe it is. Yes. So our current lineup, we just got done with I3 in Detroit. The next event up will be in Wisconsin. After that, we'll have one of my own events in October with RSL. That'll be over in Hastings, which is near Minneapolis. And then after that, we have a newcomer event, which is in Nebraska. So Nebraska doesn't have a ton of events at the moment. But they're starting to get off the ground. So there's going to be an event in Lincoln, Nebraska, and that'll be the last ranked event that we have for the season. After that, we'll hold the points. We'll announce who is eligible for finals, and then we'll do finals in November.
Yeah, so for competitors that may be watching this, there you have it. That if you're trying to qualify, you have 3 events left to try and get your ranking up as high as you possibly can. So I think those are really great opportunities for folks that are able to get out there. Now, I obviously want to talk about finals. As far as you said that it's in November, correct?
Yes, yeah. So our finals is it's scheduled for November 9th. And it will be at a expo center in Waukesha County, which is near like the Milwaukee area. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the top 64 ant weights in our ranking system. they have to have a unique driver. So you only get one bot per weight class of a single person driving it. Multi-bots has a little bit of a different scenario, of course, but one driver, one bot per weight class. We're taking top 64 in our ELO ranking, and then we're going to take top 32 for beetle weights. And so all those bots will be invited out, and we'll do a double elimination tournament and see who comes out on top.
Well, that's really exciting. I mean, I'm not sure, like there's so many robots and it's hard to pay attention to all of them. But I mean, looking at who's kind of at the top of the qualification list right now, what are some exciting bots that you hope or maybe expect to see at finals?
Well, everyone is familiar with Mudskipper. And if you're not, you've been living under a rock. Remy will come out and he'll show you what he's worth. He's won the last two. He's probably the favorite for winning this one, and he's coming in ranked number 1. Immediately after Remy is a newcomer to the sport, so this is exciting. He's one of our local guys here. I was hanging out with him just earlier this week. Ben is bringing out Blight. Blight is a 4-wheel drive dual disc vertical. Very exciting bot. It's very reliable. It's very durable. You're not going to see giant hits with it, but it's going to bring a lot of pressure to the arena. He's very hard to knock out, so you have to bring your A game when you're dealing with someone like him. After that, we have another one of our staples in the community. We have Jer with Nosferatu. Jer is the individual who puts on Michigan Mashup, so he's one of our event organizers. Jer has always done well with Nosferatu, and so he's coming in on rank number 3. After that, we have Blackout, which is a drum from Iowa. Caleb is going to be bringing some heat with him. I don't know if he's going to maintain that rank. He got up there on the last event, but we'll see if he can hold on to it. And then after that, we have Chop Shop, which is another entry from Jer. So he's going to have to pick a bot or have a separate driver run one of them. And then from there, it's just killers all the way down. Everyone knows what they're doing. You don't get into the top 32 of ant weights in MRCA without knowing what you're doing.
Yeah, I would imagine not, especially because you've been doing the ants a little bit like longer
Yep.
than getting into the beetles.
We have very competitive ants. But yeah, moving over to beetles though, a little bit newer. We still have Remy up at the top. So Wicked Wedge has been around for a long time. Remy's still up on the top of that list. After that though, we have a lot of Rose Hamlin students that are just absolutely killing it this season. So we have the Throngler. I don't know if you've seen his bot. He recently just competed at NHL this last weekend. The Throngler is a kind of a rear attack horizontal where he spins around. It's a Thagomizer style where he spins around. Very defensive. It's very well driven. It's a very durable robot. I've faced it 3 times. I've only won once, and barely. Tough competitor. Then we have the Trooper, which is a D2 kit that's been running amok of our local competitions here. We have Carmine from the Voxel team. So they traveled in for one of the events and just absolutely killed it. Did very well. After that, we have another. We have someone local to you. We have Toby. Toby's coming in with the Jene Sequoia. Just absolutely been killing it this year. And then after that, it's still just solid bots all the way down. Virtually the whole bracket is a very, very hard to deal with on every level. There's no slouches in it.
Yeah, for sure. I can attest to that. I've gotten to see some of these bots up close and personal, and they're all pretty scary. So
you've experienced it now. We're not quite NHL level with our beetles, right? We don't allow shufflers. We don't allow the weight bonuses. But they're still pretty competitive.
Yeah, they definitely are. I don't think anybody who's been to a competition around here would argue that for sure. Now I'm also kind of curious, looking a little bit past finals because, like you said, there's been a lot of growth, and I would imagine that, the plan is for 2025 to kind of continue that path. I mean, you and I have talked a little bit about some of the folks that are also looking to start up their own competitions and things like that. And I think it's really exciting that so many people want to do that. And that really is helping contribute to that growth.
Yeah, it's been insane. The number of conversations and meetings that I'm having as a MRCA official and as an event organizer myself is just getting to be off the scales. Just today alone, I've spoken already today with 3 individuals that are hoping to host events or are new to the scene of hosting events. We are getting new events all over the place. And it's not just within the Midwest, right? We're speaking with other individuals outside of our region as well, just making sure that everything is going. And we're even starting to get some crossover events where some of the leagues are starting to connect in and work with each other. Just recently, MRCA and the TNRL guys, we got together and hosted an event. Most of the videos of that event are not out, but I personally attended it, and it's not something you want to miss. It was a action-packed day. It was just nothing but bot after bot of destruction. But it was such a fun, friendly event. Everyone was having a good time. Everyone was hanging out. The camaraderie of the sport was definitely there. We're looking forward to doing that with the G Scroll guys as well, and then potentially as Colorado is starting to pick up Bot Brawl, and there's some more event organizers out there that are just getting their feet wet. We're hoping to start working with them and start working a little bit out of region.
Well, that's really cool. I think that's a great opportunity, and it's kind of like bridging across the way to hopefully bring more events everywhere and get everybody to a place where they can be like self-sufficient as well
That's
without
the
like
idea.
needing the help.
Exactly.
Well, that's awesome. I'm really excited. I mean, I think this has just been a huge year overall for combat robotics, and I'm really excited to see it continue to grow. For those that are interested in MRCA specifically, where are some places that they can get information, reach out, anything like that?
Yeah. So for MRCA specifically, we have Midwest robotcombat.com. That is where all of our events are listed and where all our social media accounts and a few articles are listed as well. We're primarily active on Discord. So our Discord community is one of the largest in combat robots. Very friendly people. We host weekly calls. So currently we host calls on Monday night, which is just a CAD session. It's just a hangout time to work on CAD designs for robots. I personally host a Wednesday night call where it's just general robot talk and just hanging out. It's a great opportunity to ask questions, get some design reviews, and just chat about robots. And we have just recently started adding in what we call Combat and Coffee, which is on Saturday mornings, just another hangout time. That works out really well because a lot of times there's events starting to roll on Saturdays, and so you can get to watch the early morning fights with other people and just hang out and talk robots.
Well, that's awesome. I definitely recommend anybody to check that out. I mean, I've been in the MRCA Discord for a while, and there's definitely lots of different channels and many people there who are willing to help anybody who needs it. So definitely recommend that as a resource. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Casey, and giving everyone the rundown of, this year, previewing finals, which I think are going to be amazing. So really excited for that. And excited for next year because we're just going to keep building on what has already been built this year. So
Exactly.
well, great. So for those that are watching, please make sure that you continue to subscribe if you haven't already done that. It's free. Just hit that button and comment, share, all of that good stuff. Let me know what else you want to see on the show, and we will see everybody next time.